analog equipment. I mean, that's like a lost science. And just being able to kind of stock and recreate that whole look.
Yeah, you know what's really bizarre is that all that everything you see on there, you can just fit it inside a laptop. And maybe 4 of those rooms you can put on a laptop now. It's just crazy, isn't it? But I think part of it was just, I love the visual power of sound making back then, which you don't really get watching someone working on a laptop. But it was very, that wasn't easy, because I think the older generation didn't fetishize analog the way my generation do, and they just kind of think, thank God it's gone, you know. So they just, it's so hard to find that stuff. It ends up with collectors all over the world, but it doesn't end up in specific places. So it was a pain in the ass to find it, I have to say, and we didn't always succeed. I had a wish list of all these models, and it wasn't easy. But sometimes we'd find what we needed, and occasionally we used those exact machines to make that sound, like the copycat, which is the thing with the tape loop going around. We used that very same model to make some of those echoes and some of that feedback.
Anyone else? Yes.
What influence and involvement will you have in how the film is presented to people who don't speak English or Italian? For example, Mum's Letters would probably be a lot of subtitling to read, and say in German, which bits will be dubbed, which bits will be subtitled?
I think with the letters, you're reading it no matter what you do, whether you speak English or don't speak English, so you're still reading it. I think with subtitling countries, with dubbing countries such as Germany, Italy, I think Spain they dub as well, Hungary they dub. We should just get over it and have subtitles like everyone else. I think you can't really dub this film because of the clash. I don't know how you would do that, to be honest.
But so would you shoot Mum's Letters in the local language, or the blocking shots, the sound maps?
I really do not know. I mean, to be honest, I think even for English people, a lot of those sound maps, they have a meaning. I spent a whole week doing those maps. So even the numbers have a meaning. They're all, I don't know if anyone knows the old reels, which are like 10 minutes long and go up to like 1,000 feet. So it is basically going up to 1,000 feet. So all these numbers refer to that. It's basically like a vertical version of Pro Tools. But it's, I don't know. I mean, I would just say to anyone, just get out an English diction. Which is very harsh coming from an English person, because we are the worst in the world at languages, but there you go.
And we have one more question. There, yes.
I just wondered if you could talk a bit about how you did craft the sound design for this film. Did you do it in analog fashion, or did you do it by more targeted value?
You don't want to know the truth. We shot it digitally as well. So it's quite, shameful, the whole thing. I guess the temptation at the beginning was, okay, we're making a film about sound, we can really go to town here and be bombastic, but that felt a bit self-defeating after a while, and the focus was more on perspective, and from quite early on, it was quite clear that this should be a diegetic soundtrack, in terms of everything being physically locatable, that every single piece of music you hear, whatever you hear, it's coming from a physical source, even though we cheat it and amplify it. So I think after that, it was just a case of focusing on that detail and seeing where that sound is coming from and just switching it. But actually, it was really liberating, because I think in most films, when the music comes in, you could gently fade it out, or the composer's got to round it up nicely. We didn't have to do that. We could just stop it and get a close-up of Toby's hands punching the sound out. And that's it, we're done. And that way, we could get away with a lot of stuff. In other films, you'd have to have a very good reason for it. But yeah, we didn't go too crazy with the effects. I think mainly the effects used were in the screaming. So that was done over a long period, just different friends, different people. We even had Susie Kendall, who was in 3 Giallo films. She was in Spasmo, Torso, and again, I'm going to keep pushing this film, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Anyway, but so it was very important to have that reference to those films. But it's just weird when when you're with someone screaming, because they just have too much fun, you know. In the studio, they always have these nice biscuits on the table. So your association, going back to that, it's just too comfortable. And but then we gave it to quite a few people, like Andrew Lyles and Stephen Stapleton, and they completely transformed it, and putting it through distortion, analog, tape delay, and so on. Then it becomes incredibly intense. So, and Andrew was concocting these kind of ambient pieces based on just the human voice. So, I mean, that was an ongoing process throughout the whole film. CDs would come in the post, just packed with screaming. And it actually does your head in after a while. I think you start to feel like Gilderoy. Just not recommended, no.
Let's hear it.